In Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 says, Then God said, Let us make man in our image, in our likeness. Let them rule over the fish of the sea, the birds of the air, over the livestock, over all the earth, and over all the creatures that move along the ground. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created him. Male and female he created them. God blessed them and said to them, Be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth, subdue it, rule over the fish of the sea, the birds of the air, over every living creature that moves on the ground. And God said, I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth, and every tree that has fruit with seed in it. They will be yours for food. And to all the beasts of the earth, and all the birds of the air, and all the creatures that move on the ground, everything that has breath of life in it, I give every green plant for food. And it was so. And God saw all that he had made, and it was very good. There was evening, there was morning, the sixth day. And of course, we know that God rests after that. But here you have God, and he creates man in his image, and he has a purpose for man. Not only is he in his image, but he is going to give them rule. He's going to give them authority. You can't be in the image of God without having authority, because God has all authority. You look at Jesus, and what does he have? What was the great thing that happened after his death, burial, and resurrection? He was giving authority over everything except the Father, but over everything. And he has a name that's above every name. He's above all rule and power and authority and dominion. And you can't be in God's image without authority. And so he makes man in his image, and he gives us authority over the earth. He gives us authority over the animals. He gives us authority over the plants, everything. He gives us that authority. And with that authority, when he makes man, he blesses them. And remember what he says to man there in verse 28. Be fruitful, increase in number, fill the earth, and subdue it. Rule over the fish of the sea, the birds of the air, over every living creature that moves on the ground. And so he makes man, gives him authority, and he tells him, be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth, and rule. Be that creation that you were created to be. Be the authority on earth. Be the one that is going to take care of everything. Now, we see today the problems that we have in the earth, the problems that we have, things like, starvation and war and, diseases and all these different things, is because man has not done what they were supposed to do. We filled a lot of the earth, but not taking the authority under God's authority, and doing it in a way that's proper. Instead, we've divided up. We've done our own little authorities. We've done our own little things. And of course, with the fall of man, we've basically kind of turned that authority over the enemy. If you remember Satan, that's why when he was tempting Jesus, he could say to him, you see all the kingdoms of the earth, I'll give you rule over them if you bow down and worship me. Because that authority was kind of ceded to him. And so the governments, the powers, we've talked about principalities, powers, rulers of the darkness of this age, spiritual forces of wickedness in heavenly places, all those things are ruling around the world and around the earth. And it makes a mess. If we were doing what we were supposed to do and the way we were supposed to be doing it, there's absolutely no reason that anybody should starve to death in the world today. We have the ability, we have the technology, we have everything we need to be able to feed everybody in the world. We shouldn't have places where there's toxic dumps and places where life can't grow and people can't be because it's so filled with all these toxic chemicals and radiation and all that kind of stuff. If we were ruling the way we were supposed to be, we wouldn't be making those kind of messes. We wouldn't be polluting the world the way that it gets polluted and things like that. We would be doing things decently and in order. And I'm not bowing down and worshiping Mother Earth and talking about climate change. I'm talking about being good stewards of what God gave us. And so that is something we didn't do. And one of the things here is, when we talk about like the commands of God and what God told Adam, and, we always think about don't eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. But sometimes we don't think about the fact he said, be fruitful, multiply, and take rule, take dominion I think it is in the King James. Do what you're supposed to be doing. And we should do that. And we can each do that in our lives. And it's something we should do. Take the territory that we have and take dominion over it. Rule it properly. That's a big one for men, ruling their houses properly, taking care of things, even in things like, your yard and that area, whatever you're over, your house, your job, your work area, all these things. Take authority under God's leadership, under his authority. Walk in the authority you're supposed to have and do things right, do things proper. Find a way that is going to be beneficial to your dominion. And as you do that, that will grow to others. Neighbors will see it as you're loving your neighbor as yourself, and you're able to help and do those things. And we know people that do that, that have areas that they've done well. I'll even pick on the old man on the corner. He's real good. He doesn't just have the garden on the corner and that. He's got this whole area that he's basically taken dominion over, in a sense that he's there serving, he's there loving, he's helping, he's providing, he's volunteering, he's going above and beyond out of love to help other people. And I know that they see that, and it's a great representation. I think about my neighbor Ken was real good with that, because it wasn't just his house he was ruling with and taking care of. And again, this is not rulership like the world's rulership, right? We understand that, at least, right? It's like Jesus being a servant. And he, he would go and he'd cut lawns at other houses. He'd clean up leaves around because he had the equipment. And then we'd go and dump the leaves in my yard. And then that'd be mulch for the garden. And, and he'd go help out and, take care of things. And someone, had a problem with their vehicle across the street. Go ahead, that's ways in which we're ruling and taking authority. Not as, hey, you're going to do it my way, I'm going to be the boss of this place, but as a servant, as someone that loves, as the dominion even that we have is not one that is, do it my way or I'll kill you. Although the wasp you can kill. But it's one, where we're operating in God's way of doing it.